Hello everyone, I'm Autobot, Sonic the Telltale Gamer, bringing latest everything Telltale Games, Transformers, and more. And welcome back to another Transformers EarthSpark review of Season 1. This time we're going to be looking at Episode 5, Classified. Now, in my opinion, this is, out of the 10 episodes that are currently released of EarthSpark, the weakest one in my opinion. It's not a bad episode per se, but I definitely feel like it's strongly that it's the weakest episode of this of all 10 episodes so far. It has sort of a somewhat harmful message in it that I'm not too sold on, but it does have really comedic moments and introduces a character that I think is going to be really fun to watch grow throughout the rest of this series. So if you're excited as I am to talk about this review, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe. Let's go ahead and see everything this episode did right and what it did wrong. So episode 5, Classified, starts off of all places in a nightmare sequence where Robby is seen walking around in this endless foggy void where he hears Twitch and Thrash call out to him and sees them being taken away in a ghost truck, while at the same time a cyber sleeve begins to disappear off his arm. And this is sort of basically a personification of what his fear is that he'll reveal to Mo later on this episode, and that his biggest fear is of losing Twitch and Thrash and just basically everything he can that connects him to them and so on. So Robby just wakes up in the middle of the night terrified, and apparently this is something that happens a lot as Twitch seems to feel this as well, as she's out flying outside his and Mo's bedroom wanting to see what's up. So Robby decides to go ahead and go for a little night walk with Twitch, basically explaining to her what happened. However, in the process, as they're walking around at night, Robby ends up running into a bunch of ghost agents who are ready to question him, though Twitch senses Robby is in danger and comes in to rescue him at the last second. However, as Robby's being taken away by Twitch, all the ghost agents confuse Twitch as some rogue Decepticon that's kidnapping children. So sort of like at this point that a sort of APB goes out for Twitch, believing her to be some sort of rogue Decepticon. And this is where we get introduced to Agent Schloder, who is one of the higher-ups at Ghost and is our first real main Ghost operative in Transformers EarthSpark. And Agent Schloder is honestly the funniest character in this episode. I absolutely love his humor because he's such he's so deadpan serious, but his delivery of all his lines done by Mark Evan Jackson is absolutely hilarious. Those of you who don't know, Mark Evan Jackson, you may recognize him as playing Kevin Costner back in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So he clearly has a background in comedic acting, and it clearly shows in his performance as Agent Schloder. I think he does a great job as him. Anyway, though, after that, though, Robby and Twitch go back to the Malto homestead, and things pretty much return back to normal after that, until Dot decides to take him, Twitch, Thrash, and Mo out to her workplace the next day. Dot takes everyone to her office, which is essentially this ranger station out deeper in the woods of Woodwicky, Pennsylvania. And while Twitch, Thrash, and Mo are all excited to look at everything there, Robby, you can see, is clearly very, very tired, as he didn't get any sleep after the events with Agent Schloder and the rest of Ghost the night before. So Robby goes off into one of the storage rooms in the back to try and catch some shut-eye while everyone else is just walking about, when he sees suddenly that there's a secret elevator inside the storage room at the ranger station, which Agent Schloder comes out of. But he doesn't notice Robby, who manages to get out just in time and warn Dot and everyone else that Agent Schloder's in the room. So Dot orders Twitch, Thrash, Robby, and Mo to go out through the back while she deals with him. And this is where we get introduced to Agent Schloder properly, where we also actually learn what GHOST stands for as an acronym, which is Global Hazard Orbital Strike Team, which I'm not exactly sure how it's exactly an orbital strike team when pretty much seems to be that all Ghost activity is centered in Woodwicky, Pennsylvania, but I don't know. Anyway, Agent Schloder explains to Dot that there has been a rogue Decepticon activity that has been seen kidnapping children, so he wants to go ahead and talk to Dot about it, see if she knows anything about it. So while Dot's trying to distract Agent Schloder, she texts Robby and Mo, telling them, along with Twitch and Thrash, to try and find their way home before he discovers Twitch and Thrash. As we saw back in episode 4, Ghost would take them away if they discovered that they exist. So they decide to go ahead and make their way back to the home, which also, unfortunately, Dot and Agent Schloder are on the way there as well, because Agent Schloder wants to question Robby and Mo about the Decepticon, as presumably there's the chance that the kid that Twitch abducted, not knowing that it was Robby, could know Robby and Mo, therefore they would know about the Decepticon as well. So Dot then texts them again, saying not to come home instead and just find somewhere else to hang out until she can get rid of Agent Schloder. And now this breaks up into two main plots this whole episode. There's one plot involving Dot and later Alex and Bumblebee trying to distract Agent Schloder. And then there's the main plot with Robby and Mo, with Twitch and Thrash trying to hide from Ghost, while at the same time Mo trying to understand why Robby is being so, like, scared all of a sudden. For now, though, we're going to follow the main plot of this episode with Robby, Mo, and the Terrans. So, after receiving the text from Dot that they can't come home because Agent Schloder is on his way there, Robby and Mo decide to instead just hang out at this Ghost base, waiting for things to slide down. So, at this point, that Mo realizes that Robby is clearly stressed about this whole thing, and she wants to try and figure out what's wrong with him. And while Twitch is about to go saying that they were caught by Agent Schloder outside the night before, Robby tries to play it off instead, basically just telling Mo to mind her own business. And now, of course, I have no problem with, like, this little squabble between siblings, because this stuff happens between little kids all this time. However, what my problem happens is later on this episode with that argument. So as Robby and Mo are arguing, they didn't realize that they're actually standing over a holographic, like, pitfall trap that Ghost and the Autobots have set up to trap Decepticons that have been wandering the area. So they fall into it with Robby and with Twitch and Thrash trying to get out, but to no avail. So at this point, Robby's just getting even more frustrated, all that, about, like, worrying that Ghost is going to catch them, they're going to take them away, when all of a sudden a figure comes in to try and pull them out of the pitfall, and at first it looks like a Decepticon, but then we find out that it's Optimus who just pulls them out safely, and basically radios Dot telling her that he has Robby, Mo, and the Terrans. So he offers to take them somewhere safe in his trailer while Dot and Alex deal with Agent Schloder. Now we're going to move on to the side plot of this episode involving Dot, Alex, and B trying to distract Agent Schloder. So while Dot is on her way home to the Malta homestead with Agent Schloder, she ends up, like, doing the ringing the doorbell in such, like, a tone to, like, jingle bells, which I guess is some sort of code for Alex that there's danger. So Alex warns B to go and hide in the barn, as also, like the Terrans, B is in hiding as well from Ghost. So Alex and Dot have to basically just play house with Agent Schloder, who's basically investigating everything. However, they're almost caught when B transforms inside the barn, and Agent Schloder hears it running into the barn with a taser, planning to capture whatever road Decepticon is in there. And I just gotta think, like, Agent Schloder, man, what are you gonna do with a taser against a full-grown Autobot? I mean, assuming, though, he thinks it's Twitch, though, who is just a bit higher, taller than the human, I'd say let's say Dot is, like, maybe, like, 5'6" or something like that. I'd say Twitch is probably, like, almost 7 feet, maybe 7.5 feet tall. So I guess it would make sense to believe that maybe he could take a Terran in a fight. Who knows? But, anyway, Schloder goes into the barn only to find B in his alt mode. However, he just thinks it's a regular car because earlier on, Alex told, Agent Schloder that the barn is his man cave. So he just thinks that B is a car that Alex spotted in his midlife crisis, and this leads to a really funny scene where basically Agent Schloder decides that there's no Decepticons at the Malta homestead, and instead decides to send Dot on a sort of orientation lesson in Ghost to go train with Optimus as to become a proper Ghost agent, while he has B and Alex help out with just, like, chores and just, like, his daily errands, which honestly is my opinion is the funniest part of this whole episode, with Alex and B trying to keep Agent Schloder distracted while Dot leaves to go to orientation with Optimus. So right now, talking about Alex and B with Agent Schloder, I absolutely love the performances here, especially from Mark Evan Jackson as Agent Schloder and Danny Pudi as Bumblebee. One of my favorite parts is when Agent Schloder and Alex stop outside a donut shop inside Witwicky, where B is, like, freaking out over not wanting Agent Schloder to get any crumbs from the donut inside him or on him. So when Agent Schloder comes out with, like, a big powdered donut and sets it on the roof of B's alt mode, like, getting crumbs all over it, he locks the car door immediately, not wanting Agent Schloder to come in. So he tries to, like, get the door open and tries to, like, knock the door open with his hip, and then B just slams his door open, knocking Agent Schloder down. And literally the way he falls is just so hilarious and never fails to get a laugh out of me. And that just continues when they're driving down the highway later, and Agent Schloder's eating the donut while Alex is driving, and so he gets crumbs all over B's seat, so he ends up turning on his AC, like, at full blast right in Agent Schloder's face. And it just, I love, like, this little slapstick stuff with how deadly serious Agent Schloder is, and just plays it off like he's, like, this super serious secret agent, like, stereotype that you see in, like, kids cartoons. So I see a lot of Mr. Black and Mr. White from Johnny Test, almost. If you've seen that show, it reminds me a lot of that, and I love it. After that, we cut to the second side plot of this episode, which involves Dot going to orientation at the Ghost base with Optimus. Now, Optimus has actually, unbeknownst to Dot, actually transported Mo, Robby, Twitch, and Thrash to the Ghost base as well, keeping them locked and safe inside his trailer until things die down at the Malto homestead, where he plans on driving them back to there to reunite with Dot and Alex. So Optimus ends up having to give this really awkward and a bit cringy orientation to Dot, where he does literally I feel like this is like the funniest Optimus has been in years. It's such a nice change of pace from the deadly serious Optimus we had back in Prime and Robots in the Sky 2015. Not saying that Prime Optimus was a bad character. I absolutely love Prime Optimus, but it's nice to get a different flavor of Optimus than just the tired war veteran, if you know what I'm saying. I love Alan Tudyk's performance as Optimus here, and it's great to have a goofy Optimus again. It's very similar to Cyberverse Optimus, but just even 10 times more goofier than that, and I absolutely love it. And so Dot is just not having any of this. She finds it super weird that Ghost is just trying so hard to make humans believe that they're the good guys. So at this point, we actually get a really interesting conversation between Dot and Optimus, where Dot asks Optimus essentially, why is Ghost trying so hard? Why is Optimus working with Ghost when it seems like everything they do is in secret, like they don't even know what they do with all the Decepticons they arrest and all that. And at this point, Optimus actually gets serious for a moment and talks to Dot about how he too has some sort of qualms with Ghost, where he says, though, unfortunately though, really Ghosts were the only ones to give the Autobots a chance after the war, when the rest of humanity kind of just hated the Transformers. So he kind of owes it to Ghost that despite their methods, they're really the only ones willing to give him and Megatron a chance, really, to make things right with Cybertronians and humans. So Dot just kind of sort of sympathizes with that, basically working with the devil you know rather than the devil you hate and stuff like that. It's just more so the enemy of my enemy is my friend and all that. So it seems as though they're setting up that Ghost may have some sort of ulterior motive in the future, which I definitely think may be the case. But it's interesting to see that there's still some cracks in it, that Optimus doesn't just blindly trust in Ghost. He still has his qualms with them to some degree, even more so than Dot perhaps. So it'll be interesting to see how that elaborates over the course of this series. Now that way, we can talk about the main plot of this episode, which in my opinion is the worst part of the episode. So while Optimus is giving his orientation to Dot, Robby, Mo, Twitch, and Thrash are stuck inside of Optimus's trailer in an unknown part of the Ghost base. And while they're just bored waiting around, Robby still clearly is very stressed about being stuck in here and thinks that they should just head home regardless. However, despite this, Mo seems to be dead set on saying that they should just wait for Optimus to come back and take them home, but Robby is not having none of that, and he starts fighting with Mo, basically saying that they can't just wait around and that Ghost is going to take Twitch and Thrash away from them if they just wait here any longer. Eventually gets to the point where their anger starts affecting Twitch and Thrash as well, with Thrash especially, who's like been playing like hacky sack with his hacky sack in like the corner, so he just throws it like angrily against the wall of the trailer, which ricochets off it repeatedly since he threw it with so much force that ends up coming back and hitting him in the chest with enough force to knock him into the doors of Optimus's trailer and open it, allowing them all to get out. And so what this sort of implies is that with Robby and Mo getting angry, that anger transferred to Twitch and Thrash, but could also be used to boost their physical strength when they're angry. And to me, that sentence alone is a big red flag in my opinion. The fact that it seems to be promoting being angry and arguing to increase your strength, and like you'll get superpowers from this, basically you're telling kids. And that just doesn't sit well with me, and it only gets worse from there, unfortunately. So once they're out of the trailer, they start wandering around the Ghost base. And what's really interesting about this is that as they walk through it, they pass this sort of computer that's scanning for Decepticon activity that looks strikingly similar to the G1 version of Teletran 1. And considering the fact that all the doors are all like Autobot Decepticons sized, it leads me to believe that this may be a redesigned Ark, like the main Autobot ship that's in several Transformers continuities. That what if in the EarthSpark continuity the Ark crashed at Witwicky and sort of it was just redesigned or rebuilt by Ghost into their headquarters? What if that's the case? Because, or at very least, they took Teletran 1 from the Ark and put it in the Ghost base. Again, we don't know if this computer is Teletran 1, but based on the design of it, it looks really similar to it in my opinion. Despite this though, they don't have much time to look around as a bunch of Ghost recruits do find them and start chasing them, informing Agent Schloder that the rogue Decepticons, who they believe are the rogue Decepticons, are at Ghost Base. So, meanwhile, Agent Schloder leaves Alex and B to go and commandeer another civilian vehicle to head back to the Ghost Base, leaving Alex and B to head back to the Malta homestead and warn Dot about what's going on. So, Robby, Mo, Twitch, and Thrasher just running away from all the Ghost agents, taking shelter in what they believe to be as a safe room, but is actually one of the training rooms we saw Megatron and Alita training in back in episode 3, and that puts them into essentially a live fire course where there's a bunch of turrets shooting at them, and it won't stop until they rescue like a fake civilian trapped at the top of this like big tower of pillars. So Robby and Mo are clearly in over the head, hiding behind like a bunch of cover as turrets rain down them, and Twitch and Thrasher hiding behind another one as well. And at this point, Mo's just chastising Robby more, blaming him for the fact that they're in this predicament because they shouldn't have left the trailer in the first place. Though Robby blows up back at Mo, saying that Ghost is going to be after them no matter what, and that they're only safest when they're together, and they just can't stay in one place forever. And again, their argument causes Twitch and Thrash to increase their strength and combat capabilities through this argument. And as cool as the scene is, because I love the shots here of like Twitch using her wings as like swords or blades to slice apart all the turrets, and then Thrash uses his shields for both offense and defense to smash a few turrets as well and block laser bullets. I just hate the fact that they win this by arguing. That because of this argument that Robby and Mo have with each other, that just seems to imply that, oh, Twitch and Thrash couldn't have made it through this course without that. Though, fortunately though, it doesn't get them entirely through it. Eventually, Robby and Mo do simmer down though and realize they need to work as a team to make it through the course completely. So they do work together with Twitch and Thrash, basically destroying all the turrets, while Robby and Mo make their way to the fake civilian to complete the training course. And that I'm happy with. It's just the fact that they really went ahead and made such a harmful message to children that it's okay to argue and that you'll get superpowers essentially from it. I just didn't like that one bit. Regardless though, once the training exercise ends, the doors open with the Ghost agent still there, and however Optimus and Dot get there as well, though Optimus recalls the Ghost agent, saying that all Decepticon arrests should be made by Autobots. So with that Optimus and Dot are able to get all of them back home, and essentially before Agent Schloder gets back, so they're still safe. The episode then ends with Robby having another nightmare, though instead of going out and sneaking out with Twitch without telling Mo, instead he just wakes up Mo telling her he had a nightmare, and they go sit down on the roof of the house, basically where Robby convinces, or basically just essentially tells Mo what he's afraid of, and that the reason why he didn't tell her was because he feels like as the older brother, he shouldn't be afraid all the time. And I totally get that. Like, I feel like that they handled that really well. I'm not mad that Robby got mad. I'm just upset that the message that they were trying to tell with the argument. I think Robby's reaction of believing he was supposed to just be totally emotionless and be strong all the time for Mo, Twitch, and Thrash is totally understandable, and I love that message. But I just wish they didn't go ahead and make such a harmful lesson with this in the process. And so that was my review of Transformers EarthSpark Season 1, Episode 5, Classified. If I had to rate this episode, I'd probably give it a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. In my mind, this is definitely the weakest episode of EarthSpark so far, but it's not a bad episode. Sure, I really don't like the sort of message that they're trying to get across with Robby and Mo's argument empowering Twitch and Thrash, but I really love everything about this. I think there's a lot of stuff to like about this episode too. I really like the fight scene with Twitch and Thrash effortlessly destroying all the turrets inside the Ghost training facility. I love the conflict with Optimus and Dot, basically them believing that Ghost may not be everything it seems to be, which I totally forgot to mention this, but as they're leaving the Ghost training facility, Optimus takes a quick little detour showing Dot all the Decepticons that they've imprisoned, since we get to see all the Insecticons, we get to see Hardtop and Skullcruncher all in jail, basically saying that, yeah, Ghost may not be as good as they're cracked up to be, so they're going to keep an eye on Ghost in the future. I love that conflict between with Optimus and Dot with Ghost. I think Agent Schloder is a hilariously serious character. Mark Evan Jackson did a great job as him, and I'm super excited to see more of him, which we will see more of him later on in these 10 episodes, but I'm eager to see what is told about him. And other than that, though, it was an okay episode. I had fun with it. There were definitely highs and lows, but overall, a solid episode. So that's going to be this review. I'll be back soon with episode 6, Traditions. If you like this review, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I will see you guys later.